What's up everybody, Ninth Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today, we are talking about Clefairy, Friend Guard Clefairy, that is, the hidden ability that we got with Pokemon Home. This Pokemon's actually really interesting. So Friend Guard is a really good ability, where in doubles and triples, the damage of your ally Pokemon is reduced by 25%. This is really solid actually, it makes a lot of things. It's essentially Aurora Veil as an ability, which is really good. This Pokemon is very frail. I mean, it's a Clefairy, so of course it's going to be frail. But we do have access to Eviolite, giving us that 1.5 times boost on both of our defenses, defense and special defense, making us pretty close to a real Pokemon. And we have damage calcs to show off, like the things that we live and things that we don't live. And most of them are just like super effective stab moves that are max moves. So like it's usually things that you would expect to just OHKO us is that what OHKOs us, which is pretty annoying. The fact that some things do OHKO us, which kind of sucks. But I mean, you have Follow Me, you have Helping Hand, you have a lot of really good moves that you can do priority. So even if they do OHKO you, then you just have a really like solid turn one. And this Pokemon can really just like pivot you into a really good position early game. So without further ado, let's get into the Pokemon itself. So Fairy typing gives us that immunity to Dragon, which is very good. Resistance is Fighting, Bug, Dark, and weakness is Poison and Steel. Overall, pretty solid, you know, a couple of good resistances, however, we're very frail. So, like, our resisted attacks, we're not going to take much damage. However, this Pokemon is almost always going to be a lead, so you're probably not going to be switching this Pokemon in on resisted hits very frequently. Weaknesses to Poison and Steel are pretty bad. Mostly Steel. Poison is less relevant. However, now we have Venusaur being very prevalently played, and that Pokemon has very strong stab poison type moves. Even things like Max Ooze can just deal a lot of damage to this Pokemon, and yeah, it's pretty frail. So yeah, let's get into our stats here. So 70 HP is not too bad actually, and then defense is at 48 and 65 special defense is not the worst for an Eviolite Pokemon. I mean, Eviolite gives us 1.5, so defense goes up another 24, giving us that base of 72, which is not bad. That's actually like a lot of Pokemon's defenses, right around that 70, so that's not bad. And then special defense is actually pretty solid, giving us that plus 32.5, giving us almost 100 special defense. So actually, like, all of our defenses are pretty normal with Eviolite as like a normal Pokemon. And then HP 70, just investing all into our HP and defenses, this Pokemon becomes fairly bulky, which is really good. And then for attacks, they don't really matter. Attack 45, special attack 60. We do have Dazzling Gleam on here just because I wanted an attack, although that probably won't land on the actual set that I would use this Pokemon on. I'm actually really tempted to use this Pokemon. I think I'm going to play around with this Pokemon on Showdown, maybe even bring it onto Sword and Shield. However, I don't know why I said however. Dazzling Gleam is pretty sweet. Just having an attack in general is pretty good, although it has a lot of really good flex moves right above me. And you could definitely switch something out for that Dazzling Gleam, like definitely. And same with Heal Pulse, you don't really need that. I think Follow Me and Helping Hand comes standard to the Pokemon, but the other moves can definitely change. Speed 35 also is pretty low. We're really slow, and yeah, we're on the same tier as like Mudsdale, which is like commonly thought of as pretty slow. By the way, I don't have a single spotlight for this Pokemon today, just because like its ability says, hey, your partner Pokemon's good. So, I mean, that's like using Ally Switch in singles. It just does nothing. So, yeah, just doubles today. But, yeah. Anyway, we're going to go into the actual build now. So, ability Friend Guard is really good, like I was saying. It just keeps your opponent or your partner Pokemon very healthy, which is really good. Setting up Helping Hand early, and then setting up Aurora Veil with your own ability. Essentially, Aurora Veil while it's active for your partner Pokemon, not for yourself. But Helping Hand can be really powerful. For our item, we have Eviolite, which is really good. Just gives us that 1.5 times boost on defense and special defense. That's very solid. Good item. It's a very good item. So, moves, we have Follow Me, Helping Hand, Heal Pulse, and Dazzling Gleam. Follow Me, giving us that redirection, is very good. Helping Hand is also very good. Just being able to give us essentially a choice item without having to keep us locked into our choice. Helping Hand is very good. It's also priority, which is insane. So even if this Pokemon doesn't live past turn 1, you can get up a Helping Hand, potentially kill something really fast. Something with Excadrill, like Excadrill is very fast naturally. Hits 154, I think, with Jolly, which is very, very solid, giving us that Helping Hand, kill off a threat, and then being able to live another turn potentially with Clefairy can just really set the game in motion for you. Having Heal Pulse also is really, really cool. Heal Pulse giving you 50% heal on your partner Pokemon is really, really solid. We have Dazzling Gleam. We have Dazzling Gleam doing pretty low damage, honestly, but not the worst damage to both opposing Pokemon, which is very solid. For some flex moves, we have Protect. I just like Protect. It's really good. Of course, I'll mention it. Protect is amazing. After you, this Pokemon is really slow, so after you isn't like amazing. After you just makes whatever Pokemon you target attack after this user. So that's like, it can be really solid. You can use it for like Trick Room Pokemon. So after you is a good move. I like it a lot. I think it's good. And then Life Dew, this heals 25% of both Pokemon, so you can heal your Clefairy up a little and your partner Pokemon. I think Heal Pulse is better in my opinion, so I'm not using Life Dew, but it can definitely, I could see it being better in certain scenarios. Then we have Gravity. So Gravity is interesting. So Gravity it does a couple of things. If you watch my Orbeetle video, then you know what Gravity does, because I talk about it like 4 times, because that's its max move. It sets Gravity. You can use this Pokemon with something like Gothitelle, with my low tick, potentially set Gravity and then Hypnosis without having to coil. That's another option. That's a really cool option. I like it. I think that's cool. So I put it up there. Brick Break is mostly just to break screens, obviously. It breaks Grimmsnarl screens, so it's really, really solid. Speaking of screens, we actually get both screens on Clefairy. We have Reflect and Light Screen, which is really cool. However, this Pokemon is pretty slow, so I mean, you don't really get as much value as with screens as if you use something like Grimmsnarl or Whimsicott, using like, especially if you use like Light Clay. So you just don't get as much mileage off of it because you don't get your turn 1 like protection that well. And then for our last move, we have Ally Switch. This is a move that I think will probably land on the final set, probably taking over Dazzling Gleam, even though then we won't be able to deal damage. Ally Switch is just another good priority move. And then we have 3 priority moves, and we don't really have to care about the fact that our speed is just abysmal. So that's really good. Into our investments, so this is just pretty basic. It's just the most used on Pikalytics. I haven't used this Pokemon yet, so I just trusted that it's the most used, it's the most good. HP at 252, and then we have defense at 188 plus, giving us that bold nature of plus defense minus attack, since we don't have any attacks anyway. And then 68 into special defense. We live most relevant attacks. However, some stuff just barely OHKOs us, even if it's not the optimal nature or the most used nature. We'll talk about that more in damage calcs. We'll definitely mess around with this. Maybe I'll revisit this in the future, and maybe I'll do it in like a team building video where we talk about the spreads a little bit more and make an actual spread, one that isn't just from Pikalytics, to see how good it really is, like to make the most optimal spread. I don't know, this might be the most optimal spread, but I'm not sure. For our synergies, we have Incineroar. Incineroar makes us a little bit more bulky. It has access to Will-O-Wisp and Parting Shot and what's that other move? Snarl. It has access to all of those, as well as obviously Intimidate, which is very good. Makes us a little bit bulkier. With an Intimidate plus Friend Guard, I mean, your Incineroar is taking 0/0 damage, which is really good. You can start off with a Parting Shot. Your opponent's going to target down that Incineroar to get rid of it, not even worry about Clefairy half the time. You're going to Parting Shot, get out of there, bring in a very, very good Pokemon that now your opponent is intimidated, you have Friend Guard active, and you Parting Shot at a Pokemon, making your Pokemon that brings out doesn't even have to be a bulky Pokemon. Like, you could bring out something very frail like an Inteleon or something, and then just be like, okay, well, we're good. Like, we don't take much damage, which is really, really good. Friend Guard, Intimidate, and Parting Shot. That's a lot of things to stack on your opponent, and they're just like, wow, I do no damage. So that's good. And then our other synergy, this is in my opinion the best synergy, Excadrill. This is a really solid lead, actually, in my opinion. Clefairy, Excadrill. Excadrill covers all of your Clefairy's weaknesses. It's resisted steel. It also is unaffected by poison, which is very, very good, immune to poison. You can use Clefairy with ally switch. This is really very good in my opinion. Anything that your opponent targets down your Clefairy, you ally switch, you don't take any damage with Excadrill, and then you just start dealing huge damage. You have ground to just kill poison and steel, which is really, really good, and I think that's a very solid lead, being that Clefairy Excadrill. I definitely think ally switch could land on this moveset instead of Dazzling Gleam, and probably will if I test this out myself. And yeah, I like ally switch. That's going to be it for this first slide. Like I said, we don't have single spotlight, so it's just going to be our speed tiers and damage calcs, and then we're going to be that's going to be it. So yeah, so for Clefairy, we hit that speed tier of 55. We're on the same speed tier as Mudsdale. A lot of the times you'll see Mudsdale have a little bit of speed investment or uninvested, so we'll be speed tying or being outsped by it most of the time. Sometimes you will see Mudsdale down at 36 at its original speed, or 35. Yeah, 35. I'm crazy. I'm a crazy guy. Anyway, so yeah, speed 35. Sometimes you'll see Mudsdale being Trick Room, like under Trick Room, so you'll be outspeeding Mudsdale like some of the time. Maybe like 25% of the time, 15% of the time. You usually see Mudsdale like being uninvested at the same speeds here. Things that we do outspeed is Supersized Gourgeist most of the time. It's usually going to be min speed as it sets Trick Room. Although if it sets Trick Room, then it'll be outspeeding us, which is unfortunate. Things that we outspeed, Snorlax usually is going to be uninvested or hindering. So it'll be down to 50 or 30. And that'll be good. We'll be able to outspeed Snorlax most of the time. Although a lot of the time, if it's like very min speed, it's going to be accompanied with that Trick Room setter, and then it'll be hard because we won't outspeed it. My voice, you hear that voice crack? My voice is bad. My voice is going away. I'm only 20. My voice is already leaving me. Anyway, Conkeldurr at 45, hindering. This is where you'll see it a lot of the time. You'll also see it a lot of the time above us, so it's probably like at least. Probably more in the favor of it being at 65 uninvested, to be honest. So yeah, we'll outspeed it like 30-40% of the time probably. Rhyperior will always be outspeeding. Rhyperior will always be at the min speed. It's the most common Trick Room sweeper, so we'll always be outspeeding it initially. However, after this is a Trick Room, of course it'll be outspeeding us. Gastrodon, you probably see about half the time being down at that hindering nature on a Trick Room team. Although a lot of the time you'll still see it up there at uninvested at 59 right above us. So we'll be outspeeding Gastrodon probably like 30-40% of the time. Same with like the things like Conkeldurr. So I think it's typically ran with not min speed, which is interesting. So things that do outspeed us, Jellicent initially outspeeds us as well. Hindering nature, min speed is 58, always going to be outspeeding us initially. And after Trick Room, we might be outspeeding it, which is really cool. Things that outspeed us, Gastrodon, 59. You'll typically see this at uninvested, to be honest. And same with Gothitelle. Well, Gothitelle is always going to be outspeeding us. Even at min speed, hindering, it's 63. Always going to be outspeeding us, guaranteed. Conkeldurr, you'll usually be will usually be outspeeding Clefairy. It's usually going to be at the around that 65. So that's going to be it for our speed tiers. We're going to go ahead and jump on to some damage calcs. So all of our damage calcs are actually damage, like soaking up damage, just because you don't usually attack with this Pokemon, and even if you do, its Dazzling Gleam is going to be doing very minimal damage. So that's why I think probably Ally Switch or like a different move over it. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. But anyway, so Dynamaxed, max ooze from a Venusaur, max invested modest Venusaur, hits for 67 to 81% damage. It's a guaranteed 2-hit KO. We guaranteed live it, which is very, very good. Shows off how bulky we can really be. Even with only 68 special defense, we're able to live that, which is really, really good. Potentially, I think we can potentially move some of our special defense back into our defense to live certain attacks, like Jolly Oko from Max Steel Spike, which is the next thing. Excadrill, this is Adamant max invested. Max Steel Spike into us is 112 to 133% damage. Even if it's Jolly, it's still Oko's. It hits 101 or 103% damage, which is a guaranteed Oko. But like I was saying, if we move a little bit of our special defense into defense, we can potentially live that. But I mean, it's still going to be a low roll that we require for that. So I like this spread. I think it's really good. It keeps us alive from certain things, which is really good. So Dynamaxed Tyranitar. This is with weakness policy, max rockfall. This is the only way it has a chance of Okoing us. 101% damage. It's going to be dealing to us with Dynamaxed Weakness Policy, Max Rock Fall. So we usually will live against a Tyrannosaur, especially if we don't proc his Weakness Policy, we'll never die to it from an Oko, which is good. Competitive boosted Muddy Water from a Milotic is going to be dealing 37 to 44%. That's really not that bad. Like, we're not really worried about competitive boosted Milotic. However, I did say a lot of the time we'll lead it with Incineroar. So, yeah, it's something you'll have to worry about. Muddy Water, after competitive boost, Muddy Water deals a lot of damage out to Incineroar. It won't be an Oko, especially with our Friend Guard active, but it's still, like, it's going to two-shot, so that's something to keep in mind. But, I mean, we have Parting Shot, you know, we have, like, potentially screens with Clefairy and stuff like that, so that's good. Dynamaxed Max Steel Spike from Modest. This is with Assault Vest, so that it doesn't have Life Orb. It still hits 111 to 132%, guaranteed Oko with Max Steel Spike. And if it's not Assault Vest, if it has Life Orb, it doesn't guaranteed Oko with Flash Cannon, but it will typically Dynamax, and then it will guaranteed Oko, which is pretty unfortunate. So, yeah, that's all I have for Clefairy. We live a lot of our attacks, so a lot of the time we'll be able to live one turn, which is really good. Ally Switch is a really good option, like I was saying. Then we can guarantee most likely live one turn, live a second turn potentially with Ally Switch, depending on how they call us out on the Ally Switch. I think Excadrill is a really, really optimal lead with Clefairy. I think Clefairy is really cool, really promising, a really solid option. Friend Guard is really, really solid. And yeah, that's going to be it for Clefairy. Thank you so much for watching. Clefairy is really cool. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. We're killing it on YouTube right now. We're killing it. Oko in YouTube. We're Oko in YouTube. That's how good we are. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.